You have seen Apple's liquid glass, but most tutorials just fake it. Pre-rendered blur, simple mask, no real refraction. So let's build it properly inside of Fusion from scratch. No plugins. Let's get started. Alright, so here we are in the Fusion tab, and I'm going to start by dragging a background node onto our Fusion page, and we're going to connect that to our media out. Now I'm going to turn the alpha all the way down, and from there we're going to add a merge node. Just take and drag one down, and when this line turns blue and yellow, it's connected and we can let go. I have this background picture. I'm going to drag it down, and I'm going to take the output of the media in and connect it to the green input of the merge node. Now I'm going to select the merge node, and I'm going to click on this to add another merge node. Now what I'm going to do is just click off anywhere in the node tree and do a control space and add a displace node. Take the output of the displace node to the green foreground of the merge to node. So now I'm going to click away and click on this box, which is the polygon rectangle node. And we're going to take the rectangle. This is going to be our liquid glass shape. I'm going to take the output of the rectangle node and connect that to the green input of the displace node. Take the output of the merge 1 to the yellow input of displace node, and take the blue output of merge 2 to the rectangle output. So now I have everything set up. So this rectangle node, as I had said, does control the liquid glass and the shape. So we can turn the corner radius all the way up, and we can change the width down a little bit, and we can also change the height down a little bit as well. And now we can go to the displace node, and we can set the offset to, let's say, -1. If you go all the way and you can't get it to go, you just type in the number -1. We do the same thing for the refraction strength. In this case, we're going to go -4. So now if you were to bring up the spread, you will see that you have this liquid glass effect starting. So now what we're going to do is change the appearance of the liquid glass. So as you can see, we're in a kind of a dark alley. There is some sunlight coming in down the alley. So what we're going to do is we're going to turn our light power up so that the light is coming in, making the liquid glass a little brighter. You can change it if it's coming in from the bottom. You can change it to the bottom. You can change it to the sides, however you want. In our case, we're just going to go from the top. So we're just going to put that in so that we have the light coming in from the top of the alley. So this is just a normal rectangle, and we can do whatever we want with it, and we can animate it. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to go over to the first frame. So we're going to bring the width down. In our case, we're going to go about 0.166, and now it's just the ball. We're going to keyframe that, and now we're going to go over about 10 frames, and we're going to keyframe that after we stretch it out. So we're going to stretch this out to about, we're going to say about 0.6, and that automatically adds a keyframe. And now we're going to add another, say 8 frames. So we're going to frame 18, and now we're going to drop it back down to about 0.4. That automatically adds another keyframe. Now we're going to go to, say, about frame 23, and we're going to bring that to our normal beginning point, which was 0.5. And so with this just being a normal rectangle, we can animate it or do whatever we want with it. So what we're going to do is we're going to go over to the first frame, and we're going to take the width down until it's, let's say, like a bubble. We're going to go 0.16, and that makes it now look like a bubble. We're going to add a keyframe there. Now we're going to go to frame 10. We can just either move it manually, or we can just type it in and enter the frame. Now we're going to bring the frame up to, we're say 0.6, and that automatically adds a keyframe. So now we're going to move over to, say, frame 18, and we're going to take and drop that down to, say, a width of 0.4, and we're going to add another, say, 5 to that. So we're going to frame 23, and we're going to bring that down to its normal starting position, which was about 0.5. So now when you do play this back, you can see that it actually stretches out and and bounces back. So now we can add another element to this if we want. What we're going to do is to drag out our media out, and we're just going to copy all of this. We're going to click anywhere within the node tree and paste it. Then we're going to hold down the Shift key, and we're going to put this in the node tree by holding the Shift and dragging it until it turns yellow and blue. Then let go of it. But as you see, this merge is not connected. So we're going to hold down the Shift key and we're going to connect that. We do not need this media in because we already have that over here. Now with the rectangle node selected, we want to make sure that our merge output is connected to the yellow input of the displace node. With the rectangle selected, we're going to go up and we're going to reset everything in there. So now you see that we have a rectangle again in its default size. Then we're going to take and increase the corner radius, and we're going to, at this time, just change it to a 1. We're going to take the height and we're going to make that a, say, about a 0.144, and we're going to take the height to about a 0.25. What we're looking for is we're looking for a circle of glass within our oval glass. Now we're just going to click anywhere in the node tree and Shift space, and we're going to add a blur node. With this blur node selected, we're going to hold the Shift key and we're going to put it between the displace node and the merge 1 node. With the displace node selected, we're going to go up and we're going to change the spread, and we're going to make that about a 1. And now with the blur, you can see that we can add blur to this. Blur size is going to be however you want. Right now I'm going to make it about a 5 and leave it just a little bit less transparent than the actual pill-sized piece of glass. Now you're probably thinking that this is an awful lot of work just for a small or one simple animation, and it probably is, but you know, it's very adjustable, and you'll see in just a little bit how adjustable and how you can create it to be yours. So now when you select this rectangle and you change the center X, you can move it back and forth, and you can see that it actually slides inside of the pill-shaped bubble. So now what we're going to do is we're going to select the merge, and we're going to add yet another merge. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this so that we have a little bit more room and move this merge out. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add a smiley face icon in here. So I'm just going to add that and hook it up to the merge 3D. And you can see it's kind of large. So what we're going to do is we're going to add a transform node. Highlight the media in and the transform. And now we can size this down so that it actually fits into our glass bubble that we just created. So that looks like it's a pretty good size. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take this rectangle and I'm going to move the center X so that the bubble is over on the side that I want it to be on. And then I'm going to take the transform node and I'm going to move the center of the smiley face and put it inside of that bubble. If you think it's too big, you can always small it down a little bit. You can use any image that you want. So with the merge 3 highlighted again, we're going to now bring down and insert another merge node. And from there, we got another smiley face we want to put in, and we're going to drag that down to the merge 4 node. Again, as you see, it looks kind of big, so we're going to add a transform node, and we're going to shrink that down to size. If you want, you can just temporarily, you can move it over the other one if you want it to remain basically the same size, so that you have some kind of an idea as to where and the size that you want. But you want everything of this inside of the glass, so it's going to be a lot smaller than the other one, simply because she has a bow. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back over to the rectangle node, and we're going to move our center X over to the other side to where we want it to change. And with that, the transform node, we're going to move our center X on the girl and move her into her own side of the bubble. So say you want to animate this, what we're going to do is we're going to go back over to our first background node. We're going to center click and drag this over so we can work on this background. With it selected, we're going to get a merge node, and we're now going to bring in the second background that we want, and we're going to add that to our node tree. So now if we were to add another background and we connect that to our media in, to our original background, we can now go in and change the alpha and drop it down, and you can see now that background image has changed. And you can adjust the brightness if you want by color corrector, or you can slightly change it down to however you want. We're only going to go about halfway, so about 0.5 will be good enough for us. So now what we're going to do is we're going to animate this. What we're going to have to do first is we're going to take and move our glass that is encapsulating the smiley faces over to the starting point. So we're going to take our center X and move it over to the first smiley face. And with that centered, we are now going to go to frame 0, and we're going to decrease the height of the glass and make a keyframe. Now we're going to go over to frame 10, and we're going to increase the height. You can stay within the glass, or you can just extend it however far you want. We're just going to go out a little bit, and that will automatically create a keyframe. Then we're going to go back over to about frame 18, and we're going to drop the height down, and that automatically creates another keyframe. And then at frame 23, which is where the final resting spot will be, we will change this to our normal height. So now that when you play this back a little bit in slow-mo, you will see that it actually goes up and it moves and then settles in. So now what we're going to do is we're going to animate this even just a little bit more and make it nice and smooth. So now what we can do is we can actually make the others the same way. Just put it at keyframe 0 and drop the size down. On that, make a keyframe on the size, and then say at frame 20, we're going to bring that up to its normal size, and that will automatically keyframe that. Now we're going to do the same thing to the other one. We're going to bring that all the way down to 0, frame 0. We're going to drop the size of the smiley face and keyframe it at frame 0. Then we're going to go to frame 20, and we're going to keyframe this back to full height. So now when you have that, you can see that it starts off looks like this, and it pops in. We're going to change it from day to night, and we're going to make it and show you how to make it smooth in just a little bit. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to go over to the rectangle 1, and we're going to take it back over to frame 30, and we're going to keyframe our center X and Y. So now we're going to have a nice slow transition in, and say we're going to go to frame 60, and then we're going to keyframe X and Y again, but we're going to move X over to the other side. It'll be a nice slow transition. It should look something like this. So now to make this smooth, we're going to go over to rectangle 1_1. We're going to go to the splines. We're going to highlight the rectangle 1. We will then turn off the height. We will expand it so we can see it, and highlight this and hit S on the keyboard to smooth it out. Then we can close the spline. So now it looks like this as it goes in and it moves over, and it doesn't change the background yet. So just hold on and it'll change in just a moment. So to change the background, what we're going to do is we're going to go over to about, say, frame 35, and there at that background, we're going to want this to be like the daytime image. So we're going to keyframe that all the way, the alpha on the background 2. We're going to put a keyframe there at frame 35. We're going to now change that very slowly all the way up to about frame 60. And we're going to now change this back to what it was about 0.5 for us, but whatever it is that you're starting with. So now when you go back over to the Edit tab and you play this through, it looks fairly good, and it's going to work on any image that you put in the background or any icons that you want. You can even make this for glass, text, or anything that you want. Just modify the code, and if you want later, just drop some comments down below, and that will tell me what you want to see, and maybe we'll make a little class out of this that you can change to be anything you want, whether it's text, pictures, movie objects, anything, take a regular image and make everything glass out of it, just let me know in the comments below and we will look into doing that. So meanwhile, hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, subscribe and like, and until later, have a good day.